The heck is this? That's weird. All right, testing sound. Testing. Sounds good. I just can't get my Epic Pen to work. It's pretty crazy. Let's try a different way. Why are you doing that? That's so weird. Wow. Okay. Can't use my Epic Pen apparently. Bear with me, guys. I exited another program, and I think that was the conflict. Let's try again. No, there's something weird going on. Okay, I can't use the Epic Pen. Shoot. If I launch it from a different way. Sorry, everybody. I'm just trying to figure out why I can't get. Hey, everybody. Hey, no, it's not Chris. It's Steve. We kind of sound alike, though, huh? Patrick, what's up? Snowman, hello, good morning. Yeah. Oh, by the way, nothing like creating a trade of the week and then having a major downgrade come out the following day. So I will happily address that. But this is weird. I try to launch my Epic Pen and then everything else goes blank. And I don't know why. And then when I close it, everything comes back. So whatever. No Epic Pen drawing Illustrator. You don't think we sound anything alike? See, I mean, when Chris first started working here, I mean, I can try and do Chris's voice, but when he first started working here, some people thought we were the same person. So anyway, Tuesday, if you haven't figured out, is anything goes day in terms of who's going to pop in here. It could be Chris, me, or Andy. And today it's me. I am also in BBAI. Patrick, I bought it yesterday. It was one of my greatest pickoffs yesterday on the open. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't easy. It's just like I was talking about over the weekend. I can't use my Illustrator, but here's the 5-day moving average. Price opened up. And in this case, it became an area of interest to me because I was long. And so looking at the daily, I thought, boy, there's got to be more than one day of bounce out of this thing. I'd like to hold for maybe 2 or 3 days of bounce. But I know there's going to be hurdles ahead of me. And the very first hurdle was this morning at the open. Sat through it. And as it pulled back and got kind of tired back here, I actually added to it. So far, it's like kind of the perfect trade around model the way in which it's unfolding and developing. A great entry down here, and I don't have my pen, damn it, but nice wick on the bottom. I saw that anytime you see like a really nice spike down and a reversal on the first 15-minute candle after a vicious sell-off on the daily, using these two time frames working together, went ahead and entered, and just no problem. I probably added some more there, and then just no problem all day long. So today I expected full on. So Patrick, I added down here, and now I'm going to sit and expect that the second time is the charm. Second mouse gets the cheese, pushing through this 5-day moving average. It's exactly where I expected to see selling. And this is why I use this moving average, and it's why I keep it simple. Oh, so you read a good article on them yesterday? Interesting. I've heard some people refer to them as kind of the baby Palantir. So enterprise companies will look at Palantir and go, oh, wow, I don't really want to spend that kind of ticket. But here's this smaller enterprise company called BBAI. And I'm guessing they kind of do the same thing. They come in and they take your company data and unfold it and give it back to you in a way in which saves you money and increases revenue. If I'm right, Patrick, let me know, because that's what I'm assuming these people are all about. And I guess they were also entangled in some sort of a securities warrants class action suit, which may have been holding them back for a while, but we can see on the daily chart here, whatever was holding them back finally released. And we've got a 31% short float, which is just wonderful. That's what's keeping me in this trade. So I'm trying to hold out for a push above this blue line here in BBAI since you brought it up. All right, great. Wasim, welcome. This is the Trade Ideas. Gave up a Palantir, don't like them. Oh, yeah, there you go. Good point. Try killing Epic. Yeah, let's do that, Pepe. I knew he was going to come up with a solution. Let's take it out of memory, if it's even in there. Yeah, it is. Look at that. Don't move around on me. Okay. Let's see if that solved the issue. I don't see. Hey, there it is. You're right. Look at that. Pepe IT to the rescue. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So as I was saying, Wasim, welcome. This is the Trade Ideas Daily Support webinar. We'll get sidetracked talking about whatever, whenever, unless somebody comes in and kind of says, hey, I've got a question. I need some help here. So here we go. Is there a way I can send a ticker to a chart window I want default settings applied to? Well, a ticker to a chart window I want default setting applied to that. Okay, so I'm trying to work through. There's a couple scenarios here. I think you might be referring to you don't want your charts linked. So if you click a chart, it's going to change. If that's the case, you need to turn symbol linking off, and then that can be a freestanding chart that you can type like the SPY or the Q in. You want to show a 1-minute time frame and custom indicators applied. Okay, so 1-minute time frame. Let's start from scratch. New chart, essentially. So new. There's the chart window. It's going to give us a default chart window, which is a daily. It's going to have this thumbnail. You can turn it off if you don't like it. If you don't want this data up here, you can hit those chevrons and turn that data off because it's the same as this single stock window. Now, once you've got this, if you don't want it to link with other charts, it's defaulted to be linked. So you'd have to turn the linking off. But you've launched it and it's a daily and you want it to be a 1 minute. So we right click and go to time frame 1 minute. And then from there, the indicators that you would want, you would just right click and go to indicators section. Oops, not that one. Indicators. Oh, I guess this is a new version I'm working on. It doesn't look like that. But it'll take you to a different indicator menu. Speaking of, I've got kind of a surprise for some of the people who are curious about the money machine. Hopefully that answers your question. Always shows day time frame and none of my indicators. Yeah. So right click the time frame and then turn that off. Now, the most important thing, Wasim, is once you've got your charts and your indicators set the way you want, very important to come up and lock that in by just saying save the layout, default layout, and then just you overwrite your old one. And that way, the next time you turn trade ideas back on, it'll all be set to 1 minute in the way that you had it. Okay. Dan gets ahead of himself sometimes. He has to have the development department kind of pull the reins in on him, as well as the support department, me. But I can show you where we are. What Dan was probably trying to say is it was going to be released to the internal developers and the internal traders and trainers like myself and Andy and Chris, Brad, and some others here internally to start testing the simulator server, the word I'm trying to look for. Now, a decision was made, and this is one of the reasons the delay was pushed out. Was this going to be built on the old server architecture, or do we want to take the time and do it right and plant the tree and build a new, more efficient server architecture? I think we know the answer, and that's where we are. So today, myself and Chris and Andy have actually been firing off. I'm going to show you guys something going on. Your Brokerage Plus is currently empty. But notice I have created an account, which you're not able to do because you don't have the version that I have. A couple of Money Machine test accounts, and they go for up here as well. So I started sending a barrage of trades at a certain time. So, and this is where we are, guys. So the developer who's building out the new server architecture can monitor the heartbeat and watch the load of the servers and kind of gauge and estimate how much is being used, taxed, or how much is needed, etc. So I can definitively say this. Watch this. I've got no current trades in here. I've set this is our new, I can turn on the trade ticket right there and just do it simply. This is all the way this is how it's all going to look for you guys. Now, this is not connected to the Money Machine. What's going to happen is maybe by Friday or Monday, I think this is what Dan meant to say, is the Money Machine is going to be turned on to myself and the others to actually start using the configuration of the control and the Money Machine settings and attaching it to a scan. Where we are today internally and what I'm doing right now is testing the server that was built out, this brand new server. We turn the lights on and let people in the house and see what's going on. So here's what I noticed. For those of you who have played with the, Pepe probably included, most importantly, played with the old architecture that I spoke of on the simulator, you might recall you'd click a button and you'd see the message down here. I forgot I've got my pen now. You see the message down here preparing. And there might be sometimes as much as a 10-second hiccup, which was extremely annoying to myself included. So let me show you why, one of the ways in which we decided to build this new architecture. I've got I'm trading on the Money Machine test server. It's a brand new architecture using the Brokerage Plus interface, not using the Money Machine interface. I'm using the Brokerage Plus. We're testing the back end. But I can come in here real quick and say, buy me some of that, buy me some of this, and buy me some of that. Look how quickly those three popped in there. Oh my gosh, sell half of this. You know what? There's sell half of this. Let's highlight. Oh, I'm up $30 over there. Let's sell half of this. $32. Highlight that lift. Let's sell half of that. All right, and half of that's gone. Going. Come on. There we go. Whoop. How funny. I just talked it up and now it's slowing down. Interesting. This is one of the reasons I'm trying to test it. Still preparing that order, huh? Is there a message? Got execution. Now, what happens if I take all three and say flatten all three? Okay, that was pretty fast. That's kind of what I was talking about. So when I talk to the developer later today in the meeting, I'm going to let him know, hey, I came in and quickly said, buy one, buy some Oklo, buy some Tesla, maybe even buy some sound, some SMR. Now I've got 4 positions. I'd like to sell half my Kodak. I've got 10,000. Let's sell half of that. 5,000. That took about 1 second. Let's sell these 2 here. We'll flatten those 2. And let's flatten those 2. And I'll make note of this time for the developer that I taxed the system a little bit through the gears. So I think some of you guys can see, those of you who are familiar with using the simulator in Brokerage Plus, you're all and I was using the older architecture, the older way of doing things, and it was slower. But the money machine is going to be much more demanding in terms of frequency, in and out, and then of course usage, the amount of people plugging into it. So more often than not, it's going to be coming into things and quickly buying, three things at once. And so we're a half a step away, guys. Internally testing, by half a step, what I mean is I'm connected to the back-end server that you don't see, but what you saw was the lightning speed quickness of the simulated in and out, or halving or flattening. I can take all of these. This is something that 1.5 seconds to exit 3 positions in the simulator. You didn't get that in the old simulator. So this is why it's been worth the wait to allow the developers time to build it out correctly so we can launch it and at the right speed and not have any surprises and have to backtrack. So what's going to happen next is internally, our next internal developers build will have the ability to say, okay, I want to take this short squeeze and I want to be in the top 3 short squeezers all day long. So I'm going to click trade ticket and turn that off. What I expect to happen is with the next developers version is you saw the server that we're connected to using the old Brokerage Plus model. I want to come over here, and the first thing I'm going to do is look for the new menu that says run money machine. And then I will use my top list that's going to try and simulate me and keep me in the top 3 short squeezes all day, every day. And that'll be my contribution to the strategy test and the load test for what we're trying to do. So that's a really granular update. It gives you more color than Dan just saying it's coming out next week. It's coming out next week for us internally to give you guys more feedback on where it's coming. Now, it shouldn't take that long internally testing once the new developer version comes out, where we can turn on these top lists and tree maps to start simulating Money Machine. I would say probably a few weeks of internal testing, trying to work out any bugs. Then what would happen is the new beta version that the public gets to have a look at will have that function. So Dan is an eternal optimist, so am I, but I'm also trying to be realistic about what the developers are saying and how it's rolled out. Let me check out. I'm seeing a lot of red coming through here as I'm chatting. Just a little bit of weakness in the NASDAQ and SPY. I saw your comment, Patrick, BBAI climbing. And what it did, well, I just shouldn't say it did. It's trying to do what we need it to do, which is plant a flag here. That's my flag above the 50-day moving average by holding a few closing candles. But Yeah, fundamentally, I think BBAI is kind of like a mini Palantir. So Raj, hopefully, thanks for asking that question. Hopefully that's a really good explanation that made sense. Sometimes what people hear and what's said isn't always the same thing. Dan, in his mind, might have been thinking, released to internally for testing, and people were hearing, "Oh, good, it's going to be released to the public." So that's probably where the breakdown or confusion occurs. Yeah, you can, Russ. You can just go to Trade Ideas Education channel, which is where you should be right now, and you can just go to live, and under the live menu, you can click into all the past day sessions. They're not really cataloged. 1 second we could be talking about how to do a setting on something. The next second, Andy or I or Chris could be talking about the market that day or trading in general. Those drone stocks had an up and a down pretty quick, but I did jump back into some UAVs right around here about an hour and a half ago. I jumped into some sound. One of the things I've been trying to do is just wait for the open, especially gap up days. Oh boy, especially gap up days. Wait for the open, let all the smoke clear, and then just start to maybe nibble on some stuff. Did that with IO and Q as well with Andy. That one's trying to pull back a little bit. Here's a perfect example of saying, I don't want to get distracted, so I'm just going to pop a price alert in there to let me know this IO and Q's had a really nice run. But if it wants to break lows, I don't want any part of it. So I'll bring up, yes, you have to know how to interpret Dan's CEO speak. He's got his foot on the accelerator, and some of us have our hand on the manual shifter, trying to not to let it out of third gear just yet. There was no entry in DNet. Yeah, it never triggered. So that's why we want you to read the emails. The DNet is that blue line right there. What happened was the article came out, sans those 2 days there, a nice looking little bull flag. For whatever reason, big outfit decided to downgrade the stock down here. And so it opened up and all bets are off when you get a downgrade. And that's why we wait for the trigger to let us know that technically speaking, it is on the way to moving. So there is no trade in the trade of the week. Sometimes they don't trigger. Ones that have surprised me are this SYM. This thing just keeps going. This was a trade of the week a few weeks back. Hate when that happens to me too. It's just the worst. I can't stand analysts. Don't even get me started on analysts. You want my true, honest opinion? There's probably a lot of people short this thing. 28%. It's one of the reasons I liked it. And it popped above its 50-day and its 20-day. I'm sorry, 50 and 10. Just a beautiful little, just a T-ball. Just putting the T on the T-ball for the kid to hit it. And if he hits it at 20% short to take it. But no, the mysterious hand from the second floor above gets an email that says, hey, we need a downgrade. We've got some friends of ours. We need to cover some shorts first. Right? That is my conspiracy theory of why that kind of crap happens. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't like it. Exactly. It's either that 3+ shark or 2 days early because I saw it too early and they downgrade it to get all their buddies. And trust me, I'm watching for that too. But I'm going to wait until it gets back above 330 here, above the 5-day, just to see if that's what happens. So yeah, it's one of those two scenarios. Thank you for exactly. Thank you for that secondary follow-up because that's what I was trying to allude to. It's either get our buddies out of these short positions and or let's let our friends get in at a great price before this short squeeze takes off, before some good news that's probably due to come out might come out it's such a dirty game. Wall Street's the most dirty and dirtiest of industries, and it's basically self-regulated. A lot of change needs to happen, and I think it can happen with the blockchain and 24-hour trading. Blockchain will not allow for naked shorting. I had a whole sermon last week on naked shorting, and that's where you can't put your finger on the actual short seller shares. But if everything was tokenized on a blockchain, all securities were tokenized, you wouldn't be able to pull those kinds of grifts. And then you got the grift of Citadel paying for all of our order flow. That's why the first half an hour of every day, if you're scratching your head as a new trader, trying to wonder why the hell the first half an hour of the day is so insane, or even more specifically, why did my stop order get hit and then it reversed and went to highs an hour later? That's a whole other grift with Ken Griffin and his Citadel scam. So it's one of the dirtiest industries, and you have to accept that. I do. I don't like it, but I accept it, and I would like to see them in jail as well. So see diapers that are cleaner. Yeah, it attracts a lot of scummy people, but I think there's a lot of things are being cleaned up across the board, and maybe Wall Street might become one of those things. But it could take the blockchain technology to do that. It's one of the reasons I'm still in it. It's not a great trade. I'd have a great entry. Trust me, my entry's down here at 1770. Is DJT. The only reason I'm in this thing is to participate for the day in which I pray on my hands and knees that the SEC under this administration comes out and says, you know what, we're going to look into naked shorting. Well, the rats would scurry from this ship so quick, and they would also scurry from GameStop so quick. So just keep that in the back of your mind. That could come at some point, or it could never come. I don't know. It's just wishful thinking, but it's almost, we'll call that a spiteful trade, right? I want to sit here in DJT, even though the chart looks like crap. I want to grin with a schadenfreude grin at the short sellers who are getting spooked because the SEC may have turned on them. I can dream. That's all it is. All right. Let's see. What else am I in? I'm not in much. I'm going to tell you, my philosophy is we're kind of up in thin air up here. These are the kinds of markets that can be erased. A month and a half can be erased in one day. A black swan headline or something. It's just the worst. Think of you're a kid and you're climbing out on the tree, and the more you climb out, the branch gets a little thinner. That's how I feel about this market, and because of so, I don't go home every night loaded 90% equity, 10% cash. I go home with 70% cash and then deploy it the next day and maybe try and take some quick winners. For instance, Hertz. I went home with Hertz, and it's a beautiful entry yesterday off the 5-day. I talked about that spike in the morning, perfect off the 5-day. I love the short float. This has been a great trade around stock for me, but it doesn't last long. So here we are in the open, and I'm asking myself, Steve, how much more do you want out of this thing? And I go, that's all I need to ask myself. I punched out. Boy, was I glad I did. So the point is day and a half is the most you can get, maybe even a half a day. I'm doing a lot of day trading. I just don't trust this market. Some of you maybe even feel the breadth waning. RSP, equal weight looks like crap compared to the SPY. Yeah, interesting. I know somebody showed me that last week. If you're here, speak up. Thank you for reminding me of that. Michael Noss used to remind me of this all the time, but I forget to look at the equal weight S&P. I am not bullish. I am neutral. And if anything, I'm expecting a healthy bit of a knee-jerk pullback in this market. So I'm in a few things today, and I'm probably lucky to be flat on the day. But I bought that sound near lows. I told you I came in long BBAI, and I added. So far, so good. Added right there. Bought there yesterday. Expected the selling there, so that was no surprise. Now I'm passionately waiting for a few more candles to just keep grinding above this 5-day moving average. And that's going to keep me in this trade. I'll probably start selling some there at the 10 SMA because we'll find more sellers. And then maybe this thing wants to ride back to 8. And maybe by that time I'll have 1/3 or 2/3. I'm sorry, 1/2. CNRC. Brian Shannon showed me this one. This is a weird one. You guys can do some research on this one. It kind of competes with sound, but apparently it's going to be for drivers in cars that want to just run an AI with their voice, which is kind of crazy. That was you. That's right, David. 2 black swan decorations. Somebody sitting with, yep, I saw the picture of her sitting between the 2 black swans. Just feels like something can come at any time. So back to my thesis, I'm ditching stuff that works. I'm killing stuff that's not working and taking home very little risk. DJT, I told you about that one. But, CRNC, I have a great entry in this one. I traded it back here on this fake breakout, made money, and then lost money or gave it back on the second half. Just been watching. Little reversal wick yesterday, so I bought some at the close. Didn't hold the gap up, but I added right down here. And now my stop is pretty much the same level right there. I'm not going to let it go below there. So I've got myself a good entry. This is one of those tech stocks that, who knows, anything could pop it into play. But the point being, guys, that buying these types of breakouts is going to hurt. But finding these names and then sitting and putting them on a watch list and not losing track of them. I did a video the other day on how to use your watch list. If you're looking to buy something new, it's not up here at the top. You should already be in these ones at the top. And you should be these ones down here at the bottom. And that's why I got into UAVS today, because I saw it was down pretty good. Okay, I pulled it up. Oh, wow, it sure is. Filled the gap right here at the 10 SMA. I'll take a half position starter in UAVS. Let's reset and try over. So I'm getting ideas, not so much from a scan with a setting with tickers I've never heard before, just the opposite. I'm trading my favorite names in and out, in and out. These are my favorite names. There's over 50 of them. There's nano nukes in there. There's quant stocks. There's gold miners, silver miners. There's tech stocks. There's drone stocks now. We've got a whole new list to play with. There's AI stocks. So BBAI, that's how I found BBAI this morning. No, it was yesterday. I was noticing it yesterday. It was up on my short squeeze. And so no other scenario than the happenstance of me pulling up okay, let's go shopping. We've got some cash to play with. What looks good on the short squeeze? Oh, BBAI's had a big pullback. That's right. Saw that wick on the bottom. Whenever you see, again, guys, whenever you see 3 days of pullback and then you got this at the open, salivate for a reversal, because these are the stop hunts that Citadel is running. If it's a strong stock and it's been running higher on good volume, these are the kind of setups you want. All right. Can you ask a question about, yes, placing order? A sim order? Hopefully you're talking about placing a sim order. Even though it's going to be the same as a live order. It's kind of redundant. Nibbled some ARQQ and some INOQ. No, just in order to buy and sell. Yeah, I mean, go for it. I didn't even need to say that. It's all going to be the same regardless of what you're connected to, the SIM account. Oh, here's an interesting one. Brian showed me this one. This one's very thin. I like the way it looked on the daily chart. And this is a crypto play. Intersection of crypto assets, loyalty, rewards, payments, platform to expand payments. There's a lot happening in crypto. XRP and the other XLMs have been exploding lately. We got all that legislation again coming this week. The Genius Act was this is a neat looking chart there. And look how it pulled back perfectly 2.5 days to my 10 SMA. It's a very thin stock, but I'm taking a chance on this. And I bought a little half position starter size. It was right here at 19. All right, where do you place the price in between the bid and on the ask? So let's pull up Brokerage Plus because that's really all we've got to work with right now. Hang on a second. Disregard that. Trade ticket. Limit. Okay. So I'm pulling up the trade ticket here. I mean, there's two ways to do it. This is the legacy. It's the old Brokerage Plus. This is kind of going away. So I want to show you on the new version here on the chart trading. So the first thing I did was I changed it to a limit order. And then from there, maybe you've got a spread of, I don't know what the current spread is in BKKT. Let me look. Looks to be 25 by 38. So I'd go, let me bid 28. And then I would send the order to 28. There's the blue line, order's sitting, and it may or may not fill live, may or may not fill sim. Best chance to get filled, and in my live account, I rarely use limit orders unless I'm just doing something specific. Once I decide I want in something, I don't have the patience to sit there and work on order for 3 cents. I want in so I can move on to the next thought in my brain. See how I'm not getting filled here? Let's cancel that order. Market. And I just change it to a market order. That's how you get filled quickly. I use market orders all the time. And I wouldn't, I am in live mode. I am perfectly content with what Schwab gives me in live mode with the Thinkorswim platform or their order routing, whatever you want to use for an example. I've gotten price improvement many times just hitting the market buy button. Then, of course, we can click that red dot and create our let me make sure I've got there. They are. Red dot click gives me my downside limit stop. I can tighten that stop and then I can widen that target, and those are in play. I can hide that trade ticket. Even if the spread is wide on a market order, I will check. You know, for instance, BKKT, I did not hit market order. I went midpoint. So if I'm going to do a limit order and I look down, I see the spread's 25, 30 cents. I go, fine, midpoint. In my mind, I just calculate midpoint. I throw limit, type it in, bam, and sometimes more. I've got an instant fill because there's somebody sitting in maybe a dark pool or whatever, and they're there. I get that fill. If it's just a simple 2, 3, 4, 5 cent spread, I have no problem hitting market order because I'm probably going to get the midpoint anyway. There's a lot of dark pool liquidity you don't see. I've actually watched the trade ideas chart downtick on a buy, and I'm like, whoa, that was a great fill. Thank you very much, Schwab. So when I see that, I have no problem. But BKKT, a little different story. It's very spready, very wide. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm going to flatten only because I can't stand looking at those lines, and I'm actually in this trade. So get me out, and we'll cancel that order. Here we go. I want a clean chart because I'm actually live trading that one. Yeah, I was a Luddite. I was one of those people that was using the Street Smart Edge, which ironically enough was basically CyberTrader. They're one of the first platforms we learned on in '98. Schwab bought them for $1 billion, I think, 500 million. Dan can tell you the exact amount because he was seething. Schwab bought them and then just slowly built on top of it, changed the name, built on top of it, Street Smart Edge. Okay. And then when they acquired all these new companies, Thinkorswim just ran circles around that. So they had to retire it, kind of like we are retiring our old web version. If you haven't heard that, you're running the web version, you can still run it, but we're not fixing things on it and we can't support it anymore because we're moving forward. But that's the old web version. We're building the new browser desktop version, dash out. But yeah, Thinkorswim is just so much better. And so I switched finally to the Thinkorswim. At first, I tried the application. I'm like, this is just too much. I don't need another application running. I'm perfectly content with just having another tab on my Chrome browser now. And this web browser platform works just fine for me. I got no problem with it. Totally used to it now. Do I use OCO placing? No. When I'm trading in a Thinkorswim live account, I'm just buying or selling and then letting the trade develop. And then if it starts to get into the yellow zone, danger zone, I'll start putting stops in. I will never, ever, ever have a stop in on the opening bell for the reasons that I just told you guys. So there's that. And I will sometimes have a stop in midday. I think I have a stop in something. Let me just see. What do I have a stop in? Yeah, I've got a stop in BBA. I decided I'd keep my profits at 665 down here if it took out this low right there. And I was wrong because remember I added to it. I told you guys I added to it. Well, when I add to it, that shrinks everything up. So I basically gave myself a few cents below this low down here. I had a 665 stop in. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that now. My IONQ just triggered. Okay, see, now I don't want to be in this. I just don't like it anymore. Bear with me. No, thank you. I don't like the way you look. I'm going to turn you into cash for tomorrow. So I just pull it up, market sell. I'm out. What does that ARQQ look like? That's another. That's not too bad. I'll stay in that one. That IO and QQ. So you see how I was able to just focus on talking to you guys, but I put a price alert in there earlier to tickle myself. Hey, we're getting down here into the danger zone. You might not like this. And I don't. I told you I've got zero tolerance right now. Plus, another thing I've been doing lately is, when something's run from 19 to 48, at some point it's going to break its trend. And you don't want to be that last stalwart saying, oh, no, it's going to hold the trend, because when it doesn't, it breaks really fast. I don't want any part of a chart that can't hold its trend after running, 200%, 150% here. I'm not bearish, Jay, but I'm extremely neutral, and I'm kind of expecting, and wouldn't be surprised if we got a nice little pullback. It's the kind of market that, it takes, 15 days on the stair step up, but you wake up one day and everybody's talking about how the elevator goes down and wipes out all those days in one day. I've been around long enough. I gave the example of climbing out on a branch and then finding a skinnier branch and then finding an even skinnier branch. We're due. Let me just put it this way. We are due. To say I'm bearish means I'm bearish on the economy and the direction we're headed, and sell the rips and get short. I'm just pulling back. I'm just getting really cautious on taking risk off the table. I'm day trading with tight stops. I'm not going home with huge risk. Market's testing its 5-day there in the spies. Let's see what the Qs look like relative to those spies. Qs are much stronger. IWM, the Russell, broke down. It tried a couple of days ago, and it's giving some back now. And I like the small caps, and so that's a tough one for me. The air is just a little thin up here. If you don't have a Sherpa handing you an oxygen mask, you might pass out and be sliding down this ice slide there. It can come quick, but it comes before you know it, and you can be a deer in the headlights. And I've been in that situation. It's the worst, especially when the day starts with a gap down from overnight news and there's no bids and it's just gap down and sell from the get-go, and you can't get to all your positions fast enough to get out because that's what everybody else and every other machine is doing at the same time. Trust me, you don't want to be stuck in one of those situations. And so me personally, I'm not allowing myself to be in that situation by holding a lot of overnight risk, doing a lot of day trading with a lot of tight stops. What do I think of ETHA? Oh, so Ethereum. I mean, we might as well look at the actual. I'm bullish on all crypto right now, but Ethereum is extremely bullish. It looks great. It really does. These 10 SMA coming up to greet it. That's extremely bullish bull flag. People that come every week know me. I'm Mr. X guy. I like the X family. I've got XRP. Boy, did they come pouring into XLM over the weekend. This is like XRP's little brother. Everybody that didn't want to pay up $2.90 for XRP. I went for the peer-to-peer version of XLM. Think of this as like Venmo without the bank. You're finished your golf round and you transfer XLM from your ledger to your buddy's ledger, or back and forth, and there's no bank involved. Instantaneous transfers. XRP is banks to banks doing it the same thing, but cross-border payments. So it's from one currency to another, and the transactions happen in about 3 to 5 seconds. Can't do that with Bitcoin. It takes about a half an hour to transact in Bitcoin. So XRP is a money processor. Then you've got HBAR along this as well. This one's more for like licensing, like Apple's iTunes type stuff, tokenization, making sure everything's secure and digitized. Long story short, it's like it's HBAR. Somebody told me is like taking Napster and turning it into iTunes Store, and the stamp on the front end of it means it's legit. The licensee is getting paid, the artist is getting paid, the owner is getting paid. Everybody's getting paid because it's got the seal of approval of the hash graph of HBAR Hedera. And then XDC is the last one I own. This is like the grandson of XRP. It's more enterprise stuff, but they all use the same ledger. So I think it's a good looking chart, Jay. Ethereum looks good. The problem is with those ETFs is you've got that overnight risk. If you were short here, you did not like being in the ETF because that giant gap up trapped you. So you've got to be careful with those. Implications of selling. What about the tax implications of selling? Okay, so my situation is unique. I am trading a cash account. A couple things about this. It's literally my 401k account. So it's not an income account. It's not a margin account. I'm not flipping things over and over. It's always going to be taxed as a 401k account. However, I've got it selected as a self-directed, meaning I have control. That's one thing. I was just talking to Brian Shannon about this. One of the best things that ever happened to my trading in this account, because this is where my main focus is, I can really start to just, I'm doing well in this account, much better than I would just letting it sit. So being a cash account, I can't recycle that money. If I sell a stock for $20,000 of proceeds, that $20,000 has to go into a holding tank. But what they just did last summer, if you recall, they went from 3 days settlement to 1 day settlement, and that has changed everything. So that, plus being a cash account, it gives me the ability to just look at that trade and go, nah, you're not working. I'm going to pull you out of the ground, and I get to recycle you in tomorrow. That's one good benefit. The other good benefit is, and I've realized this, I'm not over trading. Can't tell you how many times Andy or Brian will come to me at midday or towards the end of the day. Oh, I really like this. I go, that's great. I'm out of money. And that's a good thing. Trust me. So being in a cash account has allowed me to not overtrade. And the fact that they changed the settlement rules from T3 to T1 has just been a godsend. So I can just sell what I don't like and it becomes instantaneous, fresh, new cash tomorrow, but I can't margin. I can't keep turning it over and over. So the implications of my account would probably be very different from anybody else's account. I know you got the wash sale and all that stuff. You just call it ordinary income. You just call it income. You create an LLC, I guess, is a smart thing to do. And let a tax attorney figure it out for you. You don't have to count every single trade. You can add up all the buy proceeds and sell minus the sell proceeds. And then they tax the crap out of it. It's not going to be, I'm not paying capital gains on it because it's just going towards my 401k. So it's not going to be taxed until I go to withdraw money from my 401k. And that will be taxed at the normal 401k amount. But I'm not an accountant. BBAI, Patrick's doing exactly what we asked for it, right? Planted its flag above the 5-day on try number 2. Try number 1, we expected the sellers to show up, pull back, release the arrow, pierce through that 5-day, and we got a good full hour of closing prices above that 5-day. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to pay however somebody's 401k appreciates, whether they're sitting in a fund or whether they're actively trading it. It shouldn't matter. I think that's the answer. Just because I am a self-directed, it shouldn't change my tax implications. Well, okay. Target for the SPY, if we pulled back, I think it's the 50-day. I think if I just had to guess, it's in my mind. I can see it. Yeah, let's look at the Qs. The Qs might be even a bit more. So a good healthy pullback to there. Come back and fill this gap, quite honestly. I'm not calling for it. I'm just saying it would be healthy. It could be shallow. Let's just say target number 1 would be the 20 right there with that blue. And I've got that blue line there for a reason. That's probably the more realistic. So we'll call that target number 1, S1, and S2 would be down here at 599. This is a prior high, so I could see the price coming back and testing that pivot point of the prior high while at the same time being at the 20. That'd be a good pullback. That'd be healthy. But even something down here to 599 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it'd be scary. Don't get me wrong. That'd be scary. Yeah, I need to talk to a tax expert. Don't listen to me. I'm assuming that just because I'm trading it self-directed, that shouldn't make a difference. It's still the same type of account, 401k. And gains are gains. And it goes up. And when you go to pull money out, however they tax a 401k, I don't even know. I'm not even at that point yet. CRNC not working. No, it's not, is it? What's the market doing? I don't like, again, I'm not giving anything any wiggle room here. What's the low of this? We're going to put a stop in here midday. We're going to put a stop in at 899. Bear with me. And then I got to run. So to close, stop, 899. Now I've limited my risk so I can go on about my day, not have to watch this thing and worry, is it bouncing or not? Because I don't trust anything right now. That's my mentality. Lyft tried to play that the other day with Andy. Couldn't get anything to bounce out of that either. But UAVS is not working either. Barely. That's an easy one. So I've got a couple stops. But other than that, I'm not doing much. And I'll probably thin out of even more that isn't working by the end of the day. Only because I don't like the fact that we're up here in thin air. It's like the only people that get rewarded are the ones that hold overnight and then sell immediately on the gap open. And that's no fun. What is this? Kodiak Sciences. You're talking about that one or Kodak? Yeah. I mean, yeah, you probably meant Kodak, didn't you, David? I was watching it go yesterday. I'm ready to buy it back too. That blue line right there is not by coincidence. That blue line is to trigger me to go long if I have cash. I'm out of cash today. I have no more wishes left in my genie bottle. So it's like every day I get like 5 wishes. Got to make sure they're good. Nope. Kodak, COD. They both look the same to me. They are getting jerked around pretty good, aren't they? Kodiak Sciences. Seeing a lot of red. Don't like all the red I'm seeing. So I'm putting tight stops in, not giving things much leeway. All right, guys, I do have to run 5 minutes till and the developers meeting. But again, I'm going to give them some good feedback on what I was doing this morning with the guy who built the new network server for what's coming. Hertz, great sell on that one today. I'm so glad. I'm just looking at these things and not getting greedy after a good move. Seeing more red coming here. I got stops in. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll be back on Thursday. So if you miss anything on Thursday, thank you. I'll be back Thursday and we can talk some more. See you later.